Vis screamed as she grabbed whatever she could around her, but she couldn't. At that moment, she felt her surroundings go in slow motion as she fell into what felt like her death. She could not fathom how she had entered the situation. She was only curious about that empty dark room, and now she's falling into an unknown height.
Lagaw tabi boss, daw stress na gid kuya sa mga klase ta.
Uy, timing. May nakita ko lang ng milagawan. Lapit lang di.
Ay, salamat. Mayon lang may palalagaw tang friend.
Diin naman na iya.
Lapit lang gidya. Promise. Hindi ko napagsugit para surprise. At chat lang, sugatan ta ka mo, boss.
Ti, hoo. Gamandar lang kamo ya. Storyahan nyo to akong ginikanan kung pagwaon ko nila sa balay ho.
Si Gus malasensya si imo sugtan ka na. Kami man bala upod mo.
Pasi di nagid ko sugtan kay kamuupod ko.
Ay, sobrahan.
The friends of five laughed as they walked out of campus after a long, tiring day at school. They all went home with happy hearts, longing for the fun they'll have tomorrow. Gus was driving his car, humming to the tunes he's playing while his friends were screaming every lyric at the top of their lungs. After about 30 minutes to the car ride, the car has finally felt peace as their noise died down.
Abi ko lapit lang. Manag-isa na ako oras ho.
Te, nga kung naghambal ko nga layo kadtuan ta, maupod ka mo.
Hindi gani.
Hours passed and Gus's friends were mumbling about how far out the city they've gone. They were now going down an empty, narrow road, an indication that wherever they're going is not near at all. They talked about random things to pass time as they rode peacefully. Then, suddenly their car shook and came to a stop.
Uy! Ano to?
Gus tried to start the car a couple times, but it just shook. They started to feel anxious. They were alone in an empty, creepy road.
Wala, ina niya feel ko how. Kay ohabi dayan, Gus. Basit di tani karon ka puli.
Gus immediately went out of the car and the others followed. He checked the bumper to see what caused the problem. When he opened the bumper, smoke came out and Alpha was almost suffocated by it. Alpha coughed so hard as she felt her lungs were being gripped.
O kaginhawa.
She tried to steady herself, but then fell on her bum as she tried to regain her breath.
Uy, si Olfa ho. Buligin niyo ko pepayanta siya.
They tried to fan the smoke away from Alpha as she started to breathe better.
Gusto ko na yan magpuli.
Ako man. Nakulbaan ako yan.
Guys, sorry gid, hindi ko ni kabalo magkayo. Mas okay guro kulat na lang tadi nga may mag-agi para magbulig sa aton.
They were hesitant, but they still agreed on it. They knew they couldn't do anything about it anyway. Hours passed, and they were now sitting on the side of the road. Audie was frantically walking in circles. They all felt scared. They knew no one was going to pass and help them. They can't admit it because they didn't want to lose hope, but they knew. Suddenly, Vis stood up. She looked like she saw a ghost. Her eyes were wide open and her hands were shaking.
Kita niyo to?
They all looked around to see what Vis meant, but they saw nothing.
Ang Vis, daw wala man.
Audie was anxious. They all were, but they knew they had to act calm.
Hindi magmuna, Fisa. Nakulbaan na tadi ganit tanan. Mamuna ka pa.
Hindi, may ara gidya.
Ang to Ves how? Wala gid ya bala.
May ara. May ara. May ara gid ko yan nabatsyagan para siya.
Ay do pa dayaw man niya. Nakulbaan na tadi, way ta kabalo pano ta kapuli, madyo ka pa ya.
Di kay do mga namatya na inyo tsura. Napanami ko lang ang mood.
Hay ambot, nugay ko ya kay nagutom na kudaan.
Lakton-lakton ta lang bidanay. Basta may karinderya di dampi balahaw.
Ay, hindi ko di magalin niya. May something gid ko nga na-feel sa lugar nga ni.
Te alangan man mapagutom na lang tadiya.
They had no choice but to walk wherever their feet could take them. Tucked and Vis were at the back, and Gus led the group uphill.
Kagina bala, may nakita man gid ko. Wala ko laging hambal kay nakulbaan na ang tanan. Hindi ko na gusto dugangan kay basi guni-guni ko lang. Pero kagina ko pagidya na isip.
Ano, nakita mo, how?
Hindi ko actually sure. Kagina sa Borscht may naglingling sa aton. Wala ko nakita iya tsura kay daw shadow lang siya nga naglabay.
Hala? Hambal ko gid nga may something mo. Sang galabay, tas sa mo ni nga dalan, may na-feel gid ko yung alain. Gulpi lang nagpalanindog akong balahibo.
The two were now sure there was something wrong going on, and their car breaking down was not a coincidence. It was getting dark when they saw the first house in that long, lonely road.
Uy, may balay to ho.
They all walked quickly towards the small house on the side of the road.
Do timing gid abot ta, di ba? Manyapo na sila guro. Simutan ko gid ang ila sinigang.
Baw tuod.
Oo. Daw ilok mo gani.
Kasakit sinyo pamatian, kagahod.
When they reached the doorstep of the house, Doc knocked on the door.
Tagbalay. Itaw da.
Tagbalay.
Feel ko wala tao.
Kung wala tao, dinhalin ang hamot nga nasimutan ni Olfabe.
Base sa ilok mo.
Nagay, nagutom na gid ko bala. Vis, lingling nga to bi anay ang bintana ako para mabalaan ta kung may tao man gid or base damo lang gid pong ang ilong ni Olpa.
Sige, basta updi ko.
Sos. Kalapit-lapit lang gid ka bintana.
Ti, lapit gali. Ikaw tulantaw eh.
Baw man ang mga yawa, mabaisay pa. Sige na lakat na ta, danda ka.
Vis and Gus moved toward the windows to check whether anything or anyone was inside. But after checking, they discovered
GG pre, wala tawo sa sulod.
Damo man gid gali pong ilong ni Olfa.
Imposible. Namungit ko bala kaginas ang galakat ang salakyan.
Hambal ko gid mo. Hindi na tato magalinalin. May nabatsaga na naman ko.
Si Olfa gid mo.
Ay wow. Sala ko pa gali.
while the friends were arguing, the door suddenly opened.
Guys, what just happened?
Tucked felt all the hair on her skin stand as a soft wind run through her body.
Basi bukas manigili kagina ang pertahan. Wala talang na-notice kay busy ta di bardagulan.
Audie tried to joke it out and everyone went with it, but deep down they all knew that wasn't the case. Vis stepped on the doorsteps of the house as slowly as she could. She looked from left to right, trying to see if there really was no one inside. The others followed her in and they walked cautiously, trying not to make any sound. Just when everyone was finally inside, the door slammed shut. Tact ran to the door, trying to jump it open. She gripped the knob hard and twisted it with all her might, but it didn't budge. Not even a little bit. At this moment, everyone started to panic. They all ran to the door and helped Tact pull it open, but then again, it wouldn't budge. Gus moved away from the door at a slow pace. He then looked at the soup brewing in the pot.
Pabayaan ta na lang naguro Kaon na lang ta danay.
They had all slurped their bowls dry when Gus had his first spoon. After tasting it, he immediately spat it out. He ran to the sink and gargled water, trying to remove the bitter taste of the soup.
Lilaw ay bla, duduta iya sa borya.
Tilaw ka na tuta, how?
Wala Pero kung imaginon sa borsang duta, damo na gid.
Arty Uy, di nagaliya si Vis.
While they were busy bickering, Vis tried pushing every window open until she reached the back door. She was greeted with a pitch-black room. She stepped into the room, but to her surprise, she fell. Vis kept falling and falling. She was waving her arms around, trying to grab onto something, but there was nothing she could grab. She fell and fell and fell and fell.
Uy! Ano tong baho man? Gulpi lang ko yung minasimutan nga daw panos.
Ba mo guro
The two started bickering again until Audie stopped talking. She stopped moving. She started to look pale.
Bastian niyo to? May nagsinggit pa ko lang. Wala ko kanchindisan kaya ang bali pero tututudo yung singgit.
Everyone looked at her shocked. As they stared at each other in silence, Doc suddenly dropped to the floor, shivering.
Hoy, nano ka?
Her teeth were chattering as she curled into a ball from the sudden drop in temperature.
Hala ah. Ano nang kakalatabo man?
Everyone was starting to become hysterical. They were all worried about each other. They were worried about what was going to happen to them.
Ellie, bugtaw na.
Wait bala, pinapatian ni Kuya diri dampi ho.
She walked to the back door and everyone else followed her, Gus pulling tacked along. Audie opened the door and saw the same pitch-black room that Vis saw.
Oh, hamot-hamot ni Lavender ba?
Tact shivered even more when the door was wide open. They were all so frightened that they held on to each other. Suddenly, someone grabbed Audie and pulled her into the room. The force was so great that everyone was pulled in as well, since they were all clinging onto each other. They all screamed as they fell into the dark abyss of the empty room.
Ellie, okay ka lang? Bugtaw na.
Mama! Laway-laway akong damgo.
It's okay, Ellie. Ari lang di si mama. Ano natabo sa damgo mo, how?
Ang akon mata, ilong, baba, talinga, pagkamot,